Psalm 19, verses 121 to 128. Those verses make up the Ayin stanza. Ayin. It's another one of those guttural letters. Ayin, Ayin. Verse 121, I have done what is just and right. Do not deliver me to my oppressors. Be surety for your servant's good. Let not the proud oppress me. My eyes have failed from watching for your salvation and for your righteous promise. My eyes have failed. The letter Ayin is associated with the eyes. This is how it's written. Doesn't look like an eye in this form, but more ancient forms may have looked more like an eye. My eyes have failed from watching for your salvation, the psalmist says, and for your righteous promise. The psalmist here is again lamenting and saying, God, I'm not seeing your righteousness at work in the world around me. My eyes are failing to see your presence and your love and your justice. Deal with your servant according to your loving kindness and teach me your statutes. I am your servant. Grant me understanding that I may know your decrees. Verse 126, it is time for you to act, O Lord, for they have broken your law. Here the psalmist is saying the words of many psalmists. God, it's time for you to wake up. It's time for you to act. I'm not seeing you. You seem to be gone. You seem to be asleep. Because clearly, you're not okay with what people are doing. They are clearly breaking your law. How could you be okay with that? You must be asleep. And it's time for you to wake up, and it's time for you to act. Psalmist continues, truly I love your commandments more than gold and precious stones. So the psalmist is reminded that, I'm not seeing you. Everything I'm seeing around me is not beautiful. My eyes are failing to see your beauty. But I return to your word and your commandments, your mitzvot. Your word is precious to my eyes. Your word is beautiful. Your word is so beautiful and precious to my eyes that it's more beautiful than gold and precious stones. I hold all your commandments to be right for me. All paths of falsehood I abhor. Here the psalmist is saying something that was just shared this morning at our coffee hour. Today we celebrated the Feast of the Transfiguration, which is why I'm wearing my Transfiguration cross as an associate of the community. And Nellie Thompson, who is an associate of the community of the Transfiguration as well, shared her experience of the Transfiguration when she went to Mount Tabor in the Holy Land. She said she traveled up to the mountain and saw kibbutzes or kibbutzim, which are Jewish intentional communities. She saw a beautiful view of all their farms. And then she turned around to talk to somebody, turned back, and all of the farms had disappeared. It's almost like they had been overshadowed by a cloud, as the Transfiguration accounts record. She turned back to talk to people, turned back to the view, and the kibbutzim were then visible. And the lesson she learned, she felt like God was speaking to her and saying, even when it looks like I'm not there, just like when it looks like the kibbutzim are gone, I'm still there. Even when your eyes fail to see me, I am still there. And I am watching over you. I am watching over you. And then she traveled down the mountain with locals who were kind of excited about putting the fear of God into these tourists. And so they would drive along these winding roads pretty recklessly. And so she held on to that promise that even when It looks like God is absent. It looks like I'm in trouble. It looks like we're all in trouble. God is present. Even when it seems like we don't have eyes that see. But through Scripture, through the commandments, we have eyes to see that God is present and God is watching over us. And when we dig deep into the Scriptures, the commandments, the mitzvot, we will discover more pearls of wisdom that help open our eyes. Pearls of wisdom that are far more precious than gold. We may experience and understand the insight that the great German mystic Meister Eckhart understood when he said, "The eye through which I see God is the same eye through which God sees me. My eye and God's eye are one eye, one seeing, one knowing, one love." That's a powerful quote from Meister Eckhart, and I think that's part of the wisdom and mystery that the letter Ayin invites us to contemplate. The eye through which I see God is the same eye through which God sees me. My eye and God's eye are one eye, one seeing, one knowing, one love.